A lot of you guys have found the 𝐂𝐈𝐍𝐿𝐒 Legacy because of strawberries in a jar and my TED Talk, which I teach you how to keep strawberries fresh for 3 weeks. But did you know all of these items can actually last for weeks? Even raspberries and blackberries. I wash them all the same. I have some special tips with raspberries, especially to keep them fresher longer. But I use a large bowl. So this is my bowl. It normally holds whatever berries I want to use and about 10 cups of water. And I use distilled white vinegar, which is 5% if you're in the United States. So 5% distilled white vinegar is what you use, not the 7% that you use for cleaning your showers and your laundry. Over the years, I've used other kinds of produce washes, and I've decided that vinegar is just the best. And I go back time after time to just the great old standby of using distilled white vinegar. This has been scientifically tested and proven that it will kill the mold spores, E. coli, listeria, and other harmful pathogens, which a lot of the other fruit washes just say that they're going to get your items clean, and they don't have any scientific proof behind it. So 2 minutes is all you need, and a 1/4 cup of vinegar to a large bowl of water, and you can have clean and safe produce to eat. With my method that I've been sharing and have been doing for years, you need to make sure that you set a timer when you start soaking your berries and only soak them for 2 minutes. It's so important. I always stand here and bob the berries down because they float, and I want all of the sides to get washed, and I keep bobbing them for the 2 minutes as the timer is set, and then I rinse them off in a colander. I get asked all of the time if I reuse the water. Once you wash strawberries or lettuce one time, you'll understand why I don't use the water. It is just completely nasty, and I wouldn't want to put another produce item in there. So I wash the berries, I rinse them, and then I let them dry. And normally that takes around 3 to 4 hours to let them dry out on towels. When you're drying these out, raspberries especially will stain cloths. So I normally use a colored towel when I'm laying them out to dry. I just use any old kitchen towel. It's not a special cloth or anything. Sometimes I use a Turkish towel just because it's pretty and it's big and it fits on my counter nicely. Really, it's mostly for pictures. It's not because it's anything special. You don't need to go buy anything. Just a clean, normal kitchen towel. So you want to make sure that the items that you're laying out, they are bone dry. So that's like 3 to 4 hours. Here in the Seattle area is how long it takes for them to get dry. I get asked all of the time, if I lay all those items out, my family's going to come by and eat them. Well, know that your family's probably going to eat more items on produce washing day, but you only have to do it once every couple weeks. So that part of it's a good thing. They're not going to eat it all. And them eating more produce, any color of the rainbow, is a good thing. So look at it as a good thing. Buy a little bit extra if you need to, knowing that your family might be home and they might be eating extra things. And then I store them in glass jars. I make sure that there's a paper towel at the bottom, and then I put them in the jar really gently, and I close the lid. So with the strawberries, most of my gallon-sized jars have a plastic lid, which is totally okay for strawberries. And then my smaller jars have metal lids. So the metal lids do make them completely airtight. If you're storing something like avocados, it has to be a metal lid. When I first started doing this years ago, I had a bunch of pickle jars here, and that's what I used. So strawberries and grapes, I normally store in the gallon-sized jar with the plastic lid, or you can use a metal lid with it. And then this is a 1/2 gallon sized jar, which will also work. And then oftentimes I'm using wide mouth quart jars, which fit perfectly in most of my shelves in my fridge. So this one has blackberries in it. And then this size is called a 1.5 pint or an asparagus jar. So this one has raspberries, and there's blueberries in this one. And then I grabbed this one out of the fridge, which has a little bit of blueberries that are left over from last month. So this size is called a wide mouth pint jar. So these are the different size jars that I normally use. If you use a wide mouth jar, then normally your hand will fit in there, and a regular mouth jar is smaller, so it's harder to get your hand in the jar. And then sometimes I will use strawberries in a Pyrex container with the Snapware lids, but I have found that sometimes if you put these lids in the dishwasher too often, the seal might not be as airtight as other ones are. So you need to make sure that it's a really good seal on it. The berries will last longer no matter what in a glass jar with a metal lid. So if you're having a problem with them not lasting as long, get a glass mason jar with metal lids. So you can buy these by the case. Normally they're around $12 for a full case of 12. So around $1 a jar. I have this adorable basket for strawberries and I never use it. So it's perfect for a photo prop or something like today. But normally in my refrigerator, everything is in glass. If it's in a basket like this, it's because it is like a pepper that doesn't need to be stored in an airtight container. So this is just for display today. One of the questions I get asked all the time is they're getting condensation in their jars. If you've washed them and dried them according to my instructions, that you didn't leave them sitting in a bowl for 30 minutes and go do other things, you made sure that they were totally dry, air dried, not tap dried with a paper towel, air dried, and then put them away, and you have condensation, it is okay. Just take off the lid in the refrigerator for a couple hours. I just set it in on a shelf so I remember to put it back on the berries, and it'll dry up any of that condensation. If you left your berries in the bowl of water for a half an hour or whatever and they are still soaking wet in the jar, you need to lay them back out again or they're going to ferment. So normally when I go grocery shopping or during harvest season, I make sure that I use the produce items up first that will spoil the soonest. So raspberries and blackberries I would normally eat first because they last around 2.5 to 3 weeks. So I would be encouraging my family to eat these as snacks first. Strawberries will last at least 3 weeks. That's about their peak prime. And then blueberries actually last 6 to 8 weeks. So if I had all of these berries in the refrigerator, the blueberries I'd be tucking away to the back. These blueberries are actually from last month. So we still had a few left over when I went grocery shopping today. I always buy organic avocados and organic bananas because they end up saving you money, and we will link a video telling you why. But berries are always at the top of the Dirty 15. And so I always make sure out of all of my produce that for berries, I make sure that I get organic so I don't have any extra harmful pesticides on my fruits and berries that we're eating. So even if I am not wanting to spend a lot of money at the grocery store, I make sure, especially berries, that I get organic. Okay, the other question I get asked all of the time is, can I store them all in the jar together? No. Don't store them all together. You want to make sure that you keep them separated by type because they all expire at different times. So the blackberries and the raspberries are around 2.5 weeks. Strawberries are around 3 weeks. Blueberries are around 6 weeks. So if you had them all mixed together, you would have to eat them way quicker. Another question I get asked is if you can cut them up. Once you cut into a fruit, it starts deteriorating. So it will only last a few days longer than that. So I normally store all of my strawberries together. I teach my littles to hold it by the green and eat the red when I'm handing them out. But if I do need to cut them up, I will make a smaller jar of just cut strawberries and only have them for a few days worth and then keep as many as I can whole. I don't have them with me today, but grapes too. Try to keep them on the stem and they'll stay fresh for longer also. When I go to the grocery store, I make sure that I take a few extra seconds and I'm looking at the bottom of the container, I'm looking around, I'm putting ones back and looking for the best possible container of berries or any produce item when I'm at the store. It only takes a few extra seconds, but you don't want to open up that container and find out that everything's moldy inside or at the bottom. And then as I'm washing the items, I'm watching for any that look like they're bruised or damaged, that they might not necessarily be bad, but we want to eat them sooner. So then I will put those in a bowl or another small jar, like right in the front of the fridge. That's like the eat me first bowl. So I put all the perfect strawberries or berries in a jar all together, and the ones that I want my family to eat first, I put right in the front so that they do. Or when they're laying out drying, I will set them aside so they know those are the ones to snack on. So we are going to link the full strawberry washing video the full raspberry washing video. Raspberries and blackberries you want to treat just the same. And we have a blueberry video. So they will all be linked down in the description. If you have more questions, please ask. I really do spend on average 4 hours a day answering questions across all of the different social media platforms. I truly want to help you guys save money on groceries, knowing that you don't have to throw these items away. The average family throws away 30 to 40% of the food that they buy. And the World Economic Forum said this spring that it's actually 61% globally. The way to keep continuing to save money on groceries is to eat the food that you buy instead of throwing it away. We teach all about that in our grocery course called The Grocery Solution that's available on 𝐿CrossLegacy.com on how I spend $135 per person on groceries in our house. And we have beautiful organic fruits and vegetables all the time in our house available, and we eat wholesome foods. So come follow me. Make sure you like and share and subscribe and all of the things, and welcome to the Cross Legacy.